Hi everyone and welcome back to Let's Get Knitting. So this is lesson 2. How did everyone get on the last day? I know I didn't get to broadcast an episode the week before. I'm sorry, I ran into some Wi-Fi difficulties, but everything is hunky-dory now again. So the Let's Get Knitting will be on every Wednesday from now on at 2 o'clock. Okay? So how did everyone get on with their knitting? So I did a few squares here. Now I started off with a few holes in my knitting. I don't know how it happened, but it just did. I think you see I was trying to watch the telly as well as trying to knit, so that probably had something to do with it. But you know, I just kept on knitting, and don't worry about it. If you have a few holes here and there, sure, what about it? So I kept on going and I kept practicing, and then I managed to knit one without any holes. Woohoo! Happy days. So what we're going to do today is we are going to learn how to knit in stripes, and we're also going to learn how to join our squares together. Now throughout this course I'm going to show you a few different ways to join your squares together, but for those of you who want to start a blanket with just the plain knit stitch, that's grand, and if you want to join your squares together at the moment, you can use this stitch, which is perfect. So if you don't want to go any further learning any new stitches at the moment, that's perfectly fine. You can make a lovely blanket out of the stitch that you know. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. Right, so the first thing I'm going to teach you today is how to change the colour on your knitting. So here I have 20 stitches and I've knitted 10 rows of normal knit stitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the colour now. So the first thing you do is you just knit as normal. So you're putting your needle through like so. Okay. The next thing you do is you're going to get your new colour. So here it is. And what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to shorten that a bit now so you can see. So I'm going to wrap it around my second needle that I've put through the stitch, like so. You can see that. And then I'm going to pull it through like this and pop it out. Now at this stage, you're going to need to just tighten the stitch here, and you're also going to have to tighten the stitch here. And then you just continue as normal. Now I'm going to show you this again. So you pop your needle into your stitch as normal, and then you're going to get your other colour wool and you're going to put it around your second needle. Now this part is your working wool, the part that's attached to the ball. So that stays in the front of your second needle, and you're just going to pull it through like so. And then you're going to tighten this stitch here a little bit and just pull on this stitch to tighten it. And then you can continue just working away with your purple, like so. So when you have your first row done, what you can do is just cut the white wool off, like so. And what we'll do with that is we'll just tie a knot in the purple one and the white one there, so that it doesn't unravel. Like so. And when we're finished this square, I'm going to show you how to weave the two wools back into the square. just so because it just looks a bit neater. So we'll continue on with this square first anyway and see how we go. Right, so I'm just going to show you how to darn the wool back into your square. Now, if you don't have a darning needle to do this, you could easily just cut the wool off here at the edge after you tie 1 or 2 knots in it, just to make sure it's not going to unravel. So what I'm going to do first now is just I'm going to thread my darning needle with this wool. Okay, now, so what I'm going to do, okay, I'm going to use my left hand to do this now, so bear with me because I want you to be able to see exactly what I'm doing here. So I'm just going in through the wool, like so, and I'm just pulling my wool through, and I'm just coming through it again in the next stitch. Now I know this is quite difficult probably to see. And then you're just going through again with the next stitch, and you just keep doing this until you have it completely gone through the square, so that you've used up all your waste yarn. And that's basically the neat option. Now, as I said, you can do the other option. You can just cut your waste yarn off, because you're going to be joining the squares together anyway, so it doesn't have to be perfect. But if you are a bit of a perfectionist, the darning needle is the way to go, and just weave it through. So the next thing I'm going to show you today is how to join your squares together. Now the reason I'm doing this is because you might say to yourself, right, I know how to do the knit stitch, so maybe that's as far as you want to take it so far, and that's absolutely fine. So for anyone who wants to just stay doing just the normal knit stitch, I have 2 squares here, and I'm just going to show you how to join them together. So I have my darning needle here with my wool threaded through. Now you can get those in any Euro Giant, those darning needles, okay? Now, so I've just put my wool through the first hole, and I'm just going to put it through the second hole. And you're going to push your needle through just a hole in the wool, and you're going to pull it through. It wants to go through. Here we go. And then you're going to come along again, and you're going to go underneath your square again. Just go in through one of the holes and come out again. And then you're going underneath again. And then you're creating this lovely stitch as you go. So just remember that it's underneath the square, that you're putting your needle underneath the square, and then you're coming over and going underneath to the opposite end, to the other square. So that's what the stitch looks like when it's done. Now it's not perfect, but it's my first attempt, so as you go along it will probably look a bit better. So this is the final knitted stitch of the stripe stitch. Now if you want, you can add in loads of different colours. You don't have to just stick to 2 colours, which is great. So yeah, it worked out really, really well. And I'm going to do loads of those now over the week, and I hope you get loads done as well. And then when I come back next week, what we're going to do is we're going to learn a new stitch. It's called the purl stitch. So yeah, keep practicing and keep it up, okay? And I'll see you all next week. Bye bye.